Hello, everyone. I'm Rihanna Yusuf. Welcome back again to Own Your Breath podcast. As part of the International Women's Month, I'm celebrating it the entire month, not just a day. I've brought in with us as one of my intentionally chosen guests, very special to me, even though I just met you, Helle. So with me is and intimacy coach, Helle Hudson. Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome, and she is all the way from Las Vegas. What time is it over there, Helle?
It is just after 6 p.m. in the evening, so darkness has fallen already.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. We have to thank Justin for introducing, introducing him. Justin is in Houston. I'm Singapore, and you are in Las Vegas. Somehow the universe connects us together through Justin. Yes. Very grateful. I've only spoken to Helle once, introducing ourselves through Zoom, and I have to be honest that I'm blessed. I've always met incredible, wonderful people in my life. Really, really, really. This is part of an abundance in my life, But I have to say, and I have huge love for so many people, and different capacity. But I have to say, I'm already a huge fan for you. I might be possible in love with you already.
Oh my goodness! Oh,
honestly, I can say this because I know you're grounded, you're strong enough to understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely, yeah.
When I spoke to Helle the first time, when I spoke, just communicating with you through LinkedIn, there's this kind of warm, everyone is polite. Everyone is polite. Everyone is, almost everyone is compassionate, However, there's this sincerity, warm, so genuine. Like it comes, it's not constructed with just constructed words, but it comes really, I feel like this is you, who you are. And sincerely, I mean it, and when I speak to you on, as you recall, it was so easy for, I know, I just felt so vulnerable with you, in a good way. It felt so safe, and really, I'm so grateful to be connected to you.
Thank you. Likewise, Rihanna. Likewise, really.
And I've spoken along this line of that I've been doing these last few years as a coach. I've spoken to different relationship coach or sex coach. They were all incredible. I just speak to them as as casually. However, there's something different about your work and even about you that really pulls me to you. And I mean, what the work that Helle is doing, I feel is in a different dynamic, at least to my experience, different dynamic of what relationship, sexuality, sex itself, erotism, intimacy, and connection is. So, Helle, please introduce yourself to us.
Thank you so much. I'm really blown away by this introduction. Thank you. I'm so honored to be here. And likewise, I was drawn to you. I think what you're doing is such a gift to the world, and we all have a light to bring into the world, and we have to let it shine. So thank you. Well, I'm originally from Denmark, and I moved to the US 4 years ago. I immigrated to the US 4 years ago to settle down with and get married to Joe, who's my husband. And I came from a job as a private therapist. I had my own clinic in Denmark for 3 years as a sex and couples therapist.
Yeah.
And moving to the US, I had to sort of start at a clean slate because first of all, I needed to get my green card. And then secondly, in order to operate as a therapist in the US, which is likewise elsewhere in the world, you need an American certification, which takes years and years. And I consider myself a mature woman, and I don't really want to pursue any large educations yet again. So I was lucky to get a job as a business development manager in a Danish international recruiting company. And we are, in brief, we are working with customers primarily in the renewable energy sector, the different legs, but basically many other industries, helping them either getting their first boots on the ground or growing their organization as a strategy for success. But on the side, I am also coaching. So this is what I call myself now. I'm also coaching both individuals as well as couples in romantic relationships and around intimacy and understanding their own love and their being in the world through love, and with all the hardship and struggles and pains, and not least longings that encounters too. So yeah, I'm 57 years old. I have a son of 25 who lives in Denmark, and whom I visit very frequently. So yeah, that's
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love it. So when we spoke, we spoke so much the last time I spoke to you last week. So I want to know what inspired you to begin this work.
I have to say it was my mother. I grew up at a farm with a father who was chronically ill. He had the MS, and he unfortunately passed away when I was only 16 years old. And it was the year when my mother turned 60. And slowly after my father had passed away, different people came to the farm, and they liked to talk with my mother. She was very free in her way of behaving. She would open any topic, and she would give a room and space and embrace everybody in whatever kind of tumultuous situation they found themselves. And so I paid attention quite a lot to many of the conversations she had, and most of them dealt around the topic of love and broken love and longing for love and grief over losses of love and misunderstandings and intimacy. So I grew my interest from there. And later on in life, as I started working abroad, I've lived in different countries over my time in my career. This has been a topic that has kept coming up. Love and the longing for love and the longing for being seen. And of course, sexuality as a spice of the life quality around the love platform.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So that's...
Sorry, go on.
No, but that's where my my passion was ignited. It was through my wonderful mother.
Yeah, she sounds absolutely wonderful. I'm sure I'm gonna also really like her.
Yeah, well, unfortunately she passed away a few months after I entered the US. She was an old lady of almost 97. So very wise woman.
I'm sure. Sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and you mentioned just now, love is the torch. This is the torch I live my life by. I just thought it's so beautiful. You know, like the depth of everybody say, you know, you need to love yourself. Love is so important. Love is everything. My religion is love. Is being thrown away, and it is true. All these things are true, but the depth of it is not spoken enough. The understanding of it is not spoken enough. I don't think we're educated enough. What is love? What is sex? What is intimacy? What is connection? What is belongings? And what is actually our fundamental needs are not even clear because it was never taught. So, yes.
True. That's true. So,
let's begin.
Okay.
Where do we begin? Yeah.
Let's hit it. Let's hit it. No, I think I would like to begin where we are today in society. I think that we have huge expectations to love. We have huge expectations to relationships, we really invest ourselves in love, and a big part of a relationship today is the sexual well-being of a couple. And it's sort of, it has been thrust down into our throats from going from a time where sex was basically tabooized to now we have to talk openly about it, but we don't really have a vocabulary around it. We don't really know how to word it without it becoming vulgar or pornographic or pushy or putting pressure upon one another. And I think that on top of the all the traumas and the stress that the world as a whole, that we at a collective level have gone through over these past recent years, it is just very hard on humanity with that extra pressure that we have to love each other, and we have to have sex, and it has to be with a specific frequency, and it has to be in a specific way, with specific rituals and specific routines and orders of how we do it and time of the day. And it's just so exhausting. I mean, humanity is exhausted. We are at a level in life where we are so exhausted from fear. We are so exhausted from the loss and the grief that we have all went through over a pandemic, over wars, over different atrocities, over religious disputes, racism, self-sabotaging, manipulation, condescending of individuals. It's crazy. And to find love and to meet each other in intimacy is quite hard because we are wounded. And I think this is where we have to start in a new place and identify a new way of being with love and being with peace and being with acceptance and patience, not least, to grow a new level of passion and pleasure and desire. When I talk with people, they find it hard to say what they desire, what is pleasurable to them.
That's so true. Like, so I do meditations, sound bath. So part of my sound bath, because I'm a hypnotherapist, so naturally I have scripts where I invite them to visualize their desire. I'm surprised. In the beginning, when I started doing, one of the guys actually come up to me. He actually said, "I didn't realize that I actually could desire more." She said, "You make me realize." And to me, I thought that's pretty basic. But but as you said, he was a teacher, actually, educated person. I was actually surprised how over the time people don't realize that they are living in this small container, and they forgot to play and to have pleasure.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, playfulness is it's not something that we adults are cultivating anymore, because life has become so serious, and in this serious sphere that is contaminated by a lot of aggression and by a lot of pain and fear, really. We don't know how to hold the space for each other decently, to be decent with each other in the fear. I mean, if we could only get to that, excuse me, because this is when, when we are the least lovable is when we need love the most. Yes. When we are the worst of ourselves, that's when we need the space to be held and that we can still be loved.
Yes.
And we don't know how to do that, and that's where playfulness could be a relief somehow. If we could bring some more playing and games and some aspects from our childhood back into the arena of being.
I agree, totally agree. How would you say, what are the common challenges actually in intimacy among couples? You know, like besides that they forgot how to play and not knowing pleasure, how does it applies to a relationship?
I think I think a classic thing that happens after the honeymoon phase is over is that it's kind of implicit in men and women. It doesn't matter if we're talking straight or straight, hetero, gay relationships. I think it's natural that once the honeymoon phase is over and normal life starts, that we have this feeling that, okay, we can ignite each other whenever we want. You know, it is maintenance free. Our relationship is maintenance free because now we have to get busy with all the other stuff. We have to get to work. We have to take care of the society around us, our friendships, our colleagues, our the communities we're engaged in, sports activities, spare time activities, whatever. And we simply forget to prioritize at a very, very early stage that staying and being in love is a space that should be honored. It is a garden that should be nurtured, and it doesn't have to be nurtured with, you know, voluminous sex in numbers by the day or the week or the month, but that we keep investing our beauty into our relationship. We forget that, and it becomes like it becomes a bit of a landfill for a lot of garbage that is a part of our life. You know, we go to work, we bring our, and this is actually a quote from Esther Perel, a very famous psychotherapist. Yeah, she says, we bring our beautiful selves to work and then we come home with the leftovers. And there is some truth to that.
Yes, absolutely.
There is some truth to that. So we have a tendency, not everybody, I know I'm broadly generalizing now, but this is what I have seen in with individuals and couples I've worked with, that we sort of offload everything that's hard on us. We offload that to the person that we trust the most and that we devote our love and lives to. And that is actually the person that deserves the most to get the beauty, to get the watering. So that's one thing. And another thing is that sex has become part of a business plan too. It's like business to us.
True.
Yeah, we treat sex and intimacy like a thing on our to-do list, if it's even on our to-do list. And it is typically pushed back to the very last thing we do because all the other things are much more important. Our job has a top priority, staying fit, staying healthy, looking good, participating in evening courses, lectures and whatnot.
Going out with friends, you know, doing other things except connecting.
Yes.
Intentionally with your partner.
Yeah. And so sex, the intimacy and the sexual interaction, and I will come to that definition later. It becomes one of the last things we do when we're exhausted and in the bedroom. It's like that's a typical scenario. It's like when we go to bed and before we switch off the lights, it's like, okay, let's give it a go. You know. 3, 5, 7 minutes, and it's foreplay, it's main act, it's, you know, ejaculation, orgasm, and the party's over. Let's switch off the lights. We did it. Okay, we made it. Let's sleep. Check. Yeah, exactly. And so it has become a thing that's reduced to an action rather than a space, rather than a place we go into and we don't know what's going to happen, but we like to explore together with each other in curiosity.
I totally agree, and I can relate to this.
Yeah.
Totally. I had a relationship where, I mean, he's really overworked, so, and which of course I had the, I have the empathy, compassion of him being overworked. However, I crave the emotion intimacy, but it becomes that way, like it becomes more structured, like and I'm a very emotionally in tune person, so I feel over time that it we can detach because there wasn't a genuine connection, but instead just an act, to tick the boxes. And the more that become, the more I crave for more for more sex, because that's the only way that is I know how to ask for him, because he wasn't able to give that. I mean, there are other forms of intimacy, or we can connect. So
sure.
What I realized in the relationship, because I didn't get in these other forms, so I seek more in a sexual way. But in the end, I withdraw from the whole thing, because I realize it's just not going to work. That what I lack of is the true intimacy that is beyond sex. Can you elaborate on that, on what is actually, as human, that we need this sense of belonging and connection that is beyond that temporary connection we have through sexual activities?
Yes, thank you. I would love that. I think first and foremost, we are used to, and that goes way back to our very, 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 very early childhood. We are used to some kind of rewarding or validation system, and in order to get access to love. And when we are very, very young, we form a system ourselves. It can be, we do chores for our parents. It can be we are quiet in order to not rock the boat when there are tensions at home. It can be to at least not be suppressed or be overlooked or be feel excluded, that we find a way to for our parents to draw their attention to us in order to feel some sense of connection, attachment, and love. So we create, along with expectations that our parents have to us, we create some kind of validation system that lives within us. And when we connect further up in life, in adolescence and teenagehood and adolescence, we try to use that validation. We try to bring ourselves forth in that way. Yeah, you can say that it's a kind of performance. It's at least a way of making sure that if I do this, we have a little scorecard. We build a little scorecard in our system as part of the validation, that when I do this, then I hope to get this in return, because this is what I need in order for me to know that I am loved, to know that I have a connection, to know that I belong to this person or to this group. I mean, it's a lot in
conditional love.
Yeah. And we actually we pull that into our adult love relationships as well. This validation system. However, we are also smart business people. So we do want to exchange some services. In order to give something, we want to make sure that we get something in return. That's the whole business setup. That we bring all the way home into the bedroom. And I think that with what I experience, and now I'm talking about the straight relationships, the heterosexual relationship. What I experience is that there is an implicit a structure of roles in the home and in the relationship that the couple is not always aware of. They simply just go into a routine and they stay in that routine without even questioning it. And for many of the men I talk with, they feel like they are not validated through sex. So many of them crave the intimacy because this is how they can actually feel themselves. This is where they can feel a connection to themselves when they are physically intimate with women. It doesn't necessarily have to end up in penetration, but this whole physical part of being physically connected with their wife or their girlfriend or their partner is hugely important for them to feel validated. And
so
for men,
sorry. So you're saying that for men, they feel they needed sexual activities to feel validated by their woman. Yeah.
Some of them. I mean, many of the men that I have been talking with, I again, it's broadly generalizing based on the experience that I have. And many of the women are overworked, they are overwhelmed, they are exhausted. And the last thing they want, the last thing they think of is sex, as in penetration sex. Yeah. They love the intimacy, but they think that when their husbands approach them, they think, oh my God, now he wants something from me. They think that but they also get this an unjustified impression that he's like a predator, and that is so hard. That is deeply unfair, because that is not where these men come from. But because many of the women are so overworked, basically because they have not talked about who should do what. They don't have a fair split of what has to be done, all the practical chores that have to be done to run a home, and who does what. Many women, they take on a lot of tasks, as well as being the caretakers, as well as having a job, as well as, wanting to, they also want to take care of themselves, of their health, of their level of fitness. And they are exhausted. So what they basically need is, in order for them to devote themselves to any kind of intimacy, they would like to have some support without having to ask for it. So what kind
of support are you talking here? That women, like emotional support, I suppose?
Yeah, that too. I think that many women now, and I would like to throw myself in there, because I have had a number of relationships myself, and because I thought this would give me access to more love, that I would be seen. So that was the kind of validation that I created in the home that I came from, because my father was ill and he was not able to work. He was sort of nailed to a chair. So I created this system and this pattern that I could be a good girl, I could help my mother, I could make sure that he was not sitting in draft, I would always pay attention to him. And I sort of, I grew this, this whole bubble of a lot of attention towards the person I love. Is everything okay? And I would sort of just do stuff around him because I thought then he would be happy and then he would give me love.
Oh, I've been there
So
so many times.
I depleted myself. I drained myself. I sucked the energy out of myself. And this was not something that any of my boyfriends asked me for. They never said to me, you have to dance around me like a pacifier. Never. But I grew this belief that became a truth for me, that this is actually what I have to do to be entitled to receive love back. Only when I know that I have done the best I could around this man, around this house, then can I receive love. But then I also demand that he should know what I want in return. So this whole scorecard that I built myself. So it's, to come back to what I started saying, is we have a lot of rules that we have set for ourselves, for us to, how should we behave in order to
Yes.
expect or to be honored with love. This is what I have to do. But then in return, I also expect that I will get it. And if I don't get it, then there's something wrong that has to be fixed.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Can you follow me?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
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 So we are creating our little systems that are bound to fail, because we will end up in this feeling of brokenness.
Yeah. So how then would you recommend couples can build intimacy in a healthy way? So from my understanding, from what you said, so men actually needed to feel validated through sex, and women, would you agree? I feel women they are holding a lot of roles in this modern world, so many roles. That's why they become very tired, very drained. So what they needed to feel connected is support.
Yeah. Yes and no. Yes, I agree, and no, I disagree. I think that it's a myth. I think we have to break down the myths, because this is what the couples believe when they come to me, that that sex is where he will believe that sex is where he gets his validation, and she will believe that if he becomes more, if he pays more attention to her and the softness in her, and allows her the space to be a woman, then she can devote herself. Then she will trust him much more, that he does not require something from her as a pressure, as another chore. But it is basically about how we can learn to find the pleasures in ourselves. I mean, I think we have to go back to a type of ground zero in regards to our impression of what sex is. We go by the things we have either been taught through porn or magazines that we read when we were younger, or what we imagine, what we have seen or not seen in our upbringing. And we always seek for some answers outside of ourselves. We believe that that sex comes with a process list. If we only do these things, then we'll be fine. Then we can, we'll be up and going again. But sex and intimacy and love in general is an organic, very mobile thing that will wave through us and between us throughout life. And it's never that, not 2 days are the same. not, you know, every new sentiment, every new every new bubble we go into together is new, and we have to look at it with new eyes. There is no this used to work like that, or remember we did this yesterday. But we have to dare to say, I don't know. Let's be in the space of don't know together.
Vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you advise? How can they build connection then, like a true intimacy connection that's not just through sex? How else can a couple create their own pleasure or pleasure for each other, intimacy, given that both have got caught up in their own world?
I think yeah, I had so many thoughts around this, because it's all good to say, to give some standardized advice, but really it really depends on what is it that they are stuck with. Some of them come with it. It depends on what is it that's challenging. What is it that's challenging? To many couples, it is it's actually the bedroom where the battle is being fought, whereas it is something completely different that it's all about. They love each other, they just don't know how to get back into that dance of courting each other again. Yes. Sex has become a routine, it's become too boring.
Improve. So how can they improve in this? How can they improve this dance? So like you said, it becomes structured, become boring, honeymoon is over. So how can couples improve then to create the intimacy again?
I think one of the one of the things they I normally say to couples that are that have been totally lost in their sex life, I try to tell them, you have to stop. Just stop even talking about it. Just stop even thinking about sex or talking about sex in the sense that you believe it should be. I think I normally try to educate them, ask them about do they know how their bodies respond? Yeah. Do they know how well do they know their own bodies? Are they at all in touch with the physical part of the eroticism? Are they so have they looked at each other's bodies? Are they familiar with the anatomy? For instance, many women are not aware how they look like, how they are not emotionally in touch with their bodies. Many men are not emotionally in touch with their bodies either, but to actually start exploring, and I talk with them about what are the sexual organs of the body? How does a woman's vagina look like? I mean, what is the whole structure, the whole anatomy? How does it operate? What makes it lubricate? Does it mean when she lubricates, does that mean that she is ready? No, it does not. So basically, the educative approach to it is more or less where I start, if they are familiar with how their bodies look like. And I also ask them about where are they in life now. It can be that they have experienced trauma in the family. Somebody has died. Somebody has a chronic disease. Somebody is stressed. stress is a killer. Stress is a big killer of intimacy.
Yeah.
And to actually be able to start looking at what's going on with you, what's going on with me, what's happening in your life, to actually becoming more open, talking about this is what's going on, I'm worried about this. Or as we grow older, the response time in our bodies change. You know, the signals from the limbic system down into the body is reduced in speed. And we do not get aroused as quickly. It takes a little bit more work. It can be it can be that we are sick and tired of the type of sex we have. So start talking about what are the routines, what are your rituals, what do you normally do, and to create a space to talk about, do you actually like it? Is it time that we really start redefining stuff? Should we start redefining how we talk with one another? Do we actually, when I speak with you, do you hear what I want to convey to you? Or is your brain, because our brain is like Charlie Brown, you know, when one starts talking, the other just hears wah, 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 and doesn't really hear what is actually being said. So it is many different layers of it. I mean, I can definitely, my very first advice would basically be sit down and have a chat. Have a chat about what's going on in your life right now. What's struggling you, and to start looking at where are we right now? What's going on in our life? Do we have too much on our plate? Do we have too many? Are we busy with far too many things so that we totally forget about the juice that makes the juice or the water that makes our garden grow? Have we forgotten to look at that? One good exercise is the wheel of life. You know, you draw a circle and then you make slices like a layered cake. And you probably know that one very well. You give each slice, you give it a headline. Yes, exactly. You give it a headline and you start zooming in on that. How does it look on your side? How does it look on my side? Now let's take that slice that relates to us. It can be the home, it can be the family life, it can be economy, it can be the love life, of course. But where are we investing more time? Where is time and energy being stolen away from what is essential for our well-being?
Yeah.
So to actually start splitting things, to actually start unfolding a picture that we hardly ever talk about. What are you affected by? What am I affected by?
That's such a good advice. That's true. I think what you say is like we are so fixated on relationship is, you know, to connect is just having sex, and you know, even asking how are you today, how's your day, it's structured. You know, it's more become like how are you? I guess that's why I connect well with you, because you will reply intentionally. You know, there's a difference instead of just a normal structured questions. Yeah, that's so true. Instead, doing things intentionally, getting to know each other from a deeper space, you know, and I also like the part when you say about getting to know our body. I think that's so intimate, so, you know, so intimate, so vulnerable, and this wasn't spoken, you know. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah.
No, it some time ago I was talking to
I wish I can offer you a cup of tea as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm drinking tea. Please know that in my mind, I would like to offer.
Thank you very much. I've got some water here, but thank you very much. Thank you very much. I was talking well, it's basically a few couples that have had the same type of issue, where the man is missing the intimacy together with his wife, and she's missing some time on her own. And and what we did was we really started looking out. We zoomed out and we looked at, okay, how did your life look like before COVID? How were you interacting? What were the things what were your routines? What did you do together as a family, just, with your kids? What did you do together, the two of you? And what did you do separately? What space did you have individually? Because it is so important that we both thrive in the coexistence as well as in our independence and our autonomy. It is so important, regardless that we love to be with one another. We cannot be fully together until we honor the individuality in each of us. That is very important. So we started looking at that. What did you do before? How did you perceive your love platform, your uniqueness as a couple then? And then COVID came. What happened? What physically happened in your home? So everybody came home. All of a sudden, everybody was working together. What kind of adjustments did they have to make? And then we made the life wheel before and during and now to see the shift in it. And also, what was the pressure that increased in the arena of the home and in the arena of the relationship? And quite a lot of things were visualized. So many times it's not about, let's start with looking at the sexual acts. Let's start with looking at how you can have more sex. It's basically, which are the elements that are affecting you, both as a couple as well as two individuals. When I was training to become a sex therapist, one of our teachers said, in a relationship of two, in a love relationship of two, there are always 6 images present, 6 identities present. Me as I consider myself, me and as I consider you, and me and as I consider us. Yeah. And you as you consider you, you as you consider me, you as you consider us. So that's a lot of truths that are present in a relationship, and we have to talk more about it. I mean, I am both for talking a lot more about the essential things. We should not talk more about bullshit. We should talk more about the important things and cut the bullshit out, because a lot of the things that we talk about aren't relevant to our relationship. They are really not relevant to you and me, baby. So those things that are not, we should, and so I think there are many things that a couple can look at, regardless whether it's a hetero or a gay couple. Start really looking at how are we behaving towards one another? What's going on in your life? What's going on in my life? What's going on in our life? What are we doing very well? What does not work here? And also really zoom in on, what kind of topics are we talking about? What kind of topics are totally irrelevant that we can bring somewhere else? In order to keep that picture of the garden, keep the garden blossoming. Our garden should be watered, it should be green, it should have the most beautiful flowers. So that we should not contaminate it with vomit. I mean, we should not contaminate it with junk. Yeah, we can bring a lot of that elsewhere.
Yeah, I guess instead of putting it, generally people put their relationship as the least priority, right? While they do everything else. I think it should be right at the top. And
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
once I was so emotionally, mentally, we have this space, supportive space, and I think once we feel nourished, and then we blossom and we can perform better in other areas in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's okay. It's okay to actually ask oneself, is this really necessary for me to express this? Is it really necessary for me? What I want to say now to my partner, just stop. Just a split second, stop and say what I want to say or what I want to ask now. How relevant is it at this very moment?
Yeah.
And is it going to be fruitful for us at this very moment?
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing I also advise them to advise couples to look at is how can you turn things around? I mean, how can you turn things around how can you turn things, what are the other times of day? When do you both have more energy? Start looking at when do you have more energy, better energy, because we are so focused on our job is untouchable. We are so focused on what's on our list has to stay on the list. It has to stay in that order, in that location. But it doesn't have to. I mean, start challenging that.
Yeah.
Why?
But it sounds
Go
to me
ahead.
like a bit more of feminine energy needed to be added. There's it's too much structured, kind of come from a more of a masculine energy. Everything has to be, in a certain way. So,
Yes.
yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Allow some, yeah, definitely. Allow some more flexibility. So if you both have more energy, and really start looking into that, start paying attention to yourself. When do I have more energy? And I'm not talking about when you've had a bad night of sleep, but normally when you sleep well at night, during the day, when do you function the best? When do you have the best drive? When are you in your zen, your elements?
Yeah.
Why not every once in a while meet for a dirty lunch somewhere? I mean, why not just, okay, I'm checking out, or I'm blocking my calendar. I know it's not possible in all types of jobs. There are jobs that are more hands-on jobs. You can't just leave your job, but still try to work around it. And also try to work around, could you be more explorative on going into nature? I mean, taking yourself out of that routine where things already
I
don't
think more
work.
creativity.
Absolutely. Play with it a lot more.
Yes.
And then and I like what you say about the feminine energy, the masculine and the feminine energy, because I brushed upon that the last time when we spoke.
Yeah.
That we are too goal oriented, we are too performance driven, we are too fix it controlled, and we have to bring in some more passivity, some more intuition, some more silence, and also some more wordlessness. So we should talk more about what is really important and relevant and makes sense. But then we should also have times where we are wordless and we interact with one another bodily, where we show each other, we take each other's hands, we caress each other, and we don't talk. We don't talk things to death. We're more wordless. And okay, so I can keep giving some suggestions. Another suggestion that I have made use of myself is to we women. So this is basically a message. Now we're talking about the Women's Month, March. We women shall allow ourselves to take a step back. We don't have to do everything. We don't have to have an opinion about how everything should be done. Sometimes we can just, well, I would say most of the time, because it really creates a lot of peace and space and relaxation. try to just let go. Try to just practice not doing anything.
Yes.
Just practice when you think that your husband or your partner is, when you normally get agitated or upset about, now he has left his socks next to the washing bin again. Now he has not tidied up in the bathroom, or whatever it may be. All those thoughts that are in our heads, just leave it. Just leave it. Just leave it. You're not going to die. It's not going to harm you in any way. Step away from it. Do nothing. Say nothing. Have no opinion. Shift your focus. Go up in your thoughts level. Just go, whatever, okay. And ask for help. Yeah. Don't sit there and get insulted when you are not offered help. Ask for help. Be specific. Say, hey, could you drive me to Suzanne's place this afternoon? Or, I don't feel well. I'm going to stay in bed. Could you please get the kids off to school? Be specific, ask for help, and also allow help to come to you. When you are offered, hey, I can do that, don't say, no, I'll do it myself. Just zip it. Say nothing and say, yeah, thank you. That's great.
That's so true. Like, we want something, but we are not able to receive. Right? Yeah.
Well, it's because we have also become too masculine in our behavior in life. We have to get back to this. Just take a step back. I don't have to be involved in everything. I don't have to have an opinion about everything. I can actually just be here and not think anything. Yeah. It's difficult, but it's really worth the practice.
I think it's a good advice. I think unconsciously we are becoming mothers, by doing that, and that's the very thing I think that repels men and intimacy, perhaps. Yeah.
And then we get stern. We get a bit stern. We get a bit hard, and I mean, most men would like to have smiling women. Not that we should be happy all the time, but kind and not so harsh. And I'm not trying to talk neither women or men down here, but I think that we can both become so much better at helping each other. So women could help themselves to take a further step back. Yeah. And then when a man approaches, so again, we're talking the straight relationship, when a man approaches to say, yes, please.
Yeah, I agree. How about men? What advice would you give for men that they can work on and improve?
That's definitely
a relationship. Yeah.
Again, I would say body work. I would really recommend a lot of body work.
Oh yeah, talking about body work. You mentioned before about the most important organs, the most sensitive organs for human.
Yeah, it's the skin. It's the skin. I mean, I think I said to you that sex in a broad sense has been reduced to penetration. I mean, in many cases, in many relationships. And I like to look at the whole this whole magic world of sexuality and intimacy and eroticism as an orchestra. And when we engage all of our sensoric systems and our body and so the smell, the vision, the hearing, the taste, the feeling, when we activate it all, then it's like hearing a philharmonic orchestra playing. But by reducing sex to penetration, where we need to have an erection, we need to have a lubricated vagina, then we are only merely playing the violence. We should engage in so much more. So instead of focusing on the groin and the act of
Totally agree.
Mm.
Totally agree. It's like, I mean, I speak for myself and for my clients, it's my clients generally are women. Yeah, this is the frustration that they always go straight to the violin, but we really wanted an orchestra. Yeah.
But it's also because it's because how should we know if we have not been told, or nobody has talked about how the whole body works,
Absolutely. That's so true. That's so true.
and given the permission as well, because for many it's tabooized, for many it's a little bit yucky to start touch themselves, but it doesn't have to be. It's it's really just starting. You can do it in the shower. You can just very gently touch your lips with your fingertips. You can feel how sensitive it is, and so you can shift the focus to first, what's the sensation you feel on your lips, and then feel that, and after some time, what's the sensation you feel on your fingers. So constantly really just engage in soft gentle touch, nothing else. You can do it in the shower, you can always do it when you're alone, but why not try it together? Small steps. But so just take the pressure out of it and go, let's try something else, and just do it as playfulness, really.
Yes, I like it.
So yeah, I think educating about how the body works.
Yeah.
What is the structure? What's, how does the body function, and how can we get to know it better? By simply exploring it better. We can do it on our own, which is a very good idea, to get a sense of it, and just, some days it feels different than other days. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty, that nothing is carved in stone. And sex is not porn. Sex is not, it's also penetration, but please try to expand the repertoire, do something else, go softly, and say to each other, this is scary, but please, let's do it together. Let's be awkward together. It's always awkward to try something new, because we want to be in control and we want to look good and all.
That's when I feel, when you try something awkward together, that's when the adventures begin. It's exciting, it's adventurous, and again creating more deeper connection.
So but the senses, definitely the senses, and that's another part of the pleasure. We talked about that the last time as well. So really also start zooming in individually, both men and women. And I would definitely say that to men, because many men are not gentle enough with themselves. They are very much doers, and they think they have responsibility for so many things. And to take that responsibility home for getting to know their own bodies, and actually zoom in on what gives me pleasure. What gives me pleasure on a daily basis? Yes, it can be to go for a run, but what if you like cherries? What if you once in a while and you go and buy some cherries, and you go and sit in the park and you really taste the cherries, and you
really present, and doing things intentionally. But that's such great advice. Okay. So Helle, thank you so much. It has been very, very insightful. and informative. I'll definitely be listening and digesting again what you said. Thank you. And I did mention about how women kind of over time loses desires, things like that. But that we probably cover because you said that's a totally different subject. However, just to sum up what Helle have said, covered today about there's so many things you said, but I'm just gonna towards the end, just as a reminder for women to just let go, take a step back, and ask for help and be able to receive. And for men, getting to know the woman better, the body better, and asking more of the important questions than the not important ones. Yeah.
Yes, and getting to know his own body,
Yeah,
honoring himself too.
Yes, and being gentle and being more present for themselves instead of just doing everything that is already structured and planned.
Yeah. Love
it. Thank you so much, Helen. I will be sharing where you can find Helle. Her website is www.hellehudson.com, and I'll be sharing the rest of where you can find Helle in the post when I publish this. So again, thank you, Helle, and
thank you too.
My pleasure.
It's been a great pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much for giving me this space. I'm very honored.
Oh, your work is so much needed in this world.
Thank you.
Like I feel like I needed, to bring your voice so that others can hear. So,
thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again on the next episode. Have a great day ahead. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks, Helle.